Hey guys, happy Friday. Thank you all for inputting some ideas on some Facebook Live topics. So I'm going to record a video this time and put it up there for you guys, but in the future we will do actual live interactions and you guys can pop in and let me know questions during the talk and everything like that. So let's get started. The question was, how do we transition from counting macros religiously into perhaps a more intuitive way of eating? And I can very much relate to this question because that's something that I went through during my personal journey. So tracking macros for most of us means that we're spending a lot of time on energy, on food, weighing and measuring, and essentially micromanaging every morsel that's going into our body, right? And this probably actually was a great thing at first. It gave us the physical results that we wanted. We had the flexibility to eat foods that weren't necessarily allowed on other diets like paleo or keto or low fat, low carb, etc. We gained a lot of knowledge about nutrition and metabolism and what we specifically needed in order to perform and recover from our workouts. We became really familiar with correct portion sizes, and maybe we were under eating protein for a while there. So I think for me as well, I've got this type A personality, and it was really easy to set a specific set of rules every day, and they stayed pretty consistent, and it allowed me to wake up and know exactly what I was going to eat and prepare for that day. So it gave my control freak mind even more control, which I have to admit, it was nice. But at some point you're thinking, oh my God, do I have to do this forever? Like, at what point have you learned all there is to learn from counting macros and you're ready to move on to something else? And this is where intuitive eating can come into play. So some of the reasons that you want to transition to intuitive eating might include, the obvious. Entering everything into MyFitnessPal becomes really annoying, right? Weighing and measuring is pretty stressful and almost impossible when you're traveling or eating out with friends. Sometimes you might feel like you're forcing food down when you're not hungry, and likewise almost starving yourself and not giving you enough food just because you were out of macros. You might have stopped seeing food as fuel and nourishment and actually just seeing food as numbers. So a really common mistake I see people get into is like, I don't want to waste my carbs on asparagus. I'd rather save the carbs for after dinner for some ice cream or a cookie, right? That's that dysfunctional way of thinking about food. You also might realize that this isn't a lifelong sustainable way of eating anymore. You're not going to eat this way forever. So it's that looming question, when do I transition? And then also, a lot of women that I coach are to a point where, hey, I'm not competing in CrossFit. I'm not trying to, manage energy intake specifically for that reason. I'm not trying to lose a specific amount of weight. I'm not trying to gain a massive amount of muscle. All I'm trying to do is just maintain my weight, my body composition, and be really healthy while doing so. So those are some of the reasons. Now, intuitive eating, I like to define it a little bit because it's kind of funny that we even have to have this term. Intuitive eating is essentially tuning into your body's needs and hunger cues. So eating when you're hungry, stopping when you're full. It's kind of sad that we even have to define something like this because it just seems so logical, like it should be second nature. But today's day and age, being bombarded with dieting and marketing, basically convincing us that we can't trust ourselves, we can't trust our body into actually doing its job. So therefore we have to micromanage it. And that's why we've gotten so far away from intuitive eating. Now I will say that counting macros definitely allows us to get back to a way of intuitive eating. I think it's a very, very healthy and helpful way of eating to get back from that dysfunctional thinking and dieting where we're stuck at 1,200 calories and we don't trust ourselves to go out to dinner, and we have a lot of really terrible relationships with our body and food. And counting macros, working with someone who is actually going to set you up with success, that teaches you, oh hey, we shouldn't be surviving off of 1,200 calories, we should actually be maintaining at about 2,000 calories for you. Here's why, here's how we're going to do that, and here's how we're going to do it long term. That's how you can use counting macros in a very healthy way to get you back to that way of understanding what you need to eat to be healthy, and then also taking a step back and saying, okay, I know the amount, now let's start honing in to those actual cues that your body is sending you. And then just to clarify one more thing, intuitive eating, in my opinion, is weight neutral and fundamentally a non-diet in its approach to nourishment and food. So this is something that we're really going to look forward to when we reach that maintenance level, when we've done the reverse dieting, when we've done the work to get us to a maintenance level, and we've learned a lot about food and our nutritional requirements. This is a perfect way to segue into more of an intuitive way of eating. Okay, so how do we transition into intuitive eating? First, I want you guys to realize that tracking macros is a choice. It's not a requirement, right? Realizing that you don't have to micromanage your body by counting every morsel of food is the very critical first step, okay? And this is where a lot of people get hung up, like, how will I know what to eat and what's right for my body? It's gonna be learned over time, but trust that your body knows what to do with the nutrients that you take in. Simply put, bodies don't require all of this math in order to function. In fact, we often function best mentally, physically, and emotionally with more flexibility and intuition. So number 2, expect some change, right? We get into this trap of wanting everything to be stable and stay the same forever, and we'll hold on to that fat loss and we'll hold on to that squat PR forever. We don't want to lose that, and that's just unrealistic. Our bodies are changing not only yearly but monthly, seasonally, and even daily for a lot of us. So accepting that there's going to be some change, not only in how your body looks, but also positively with how you feel, and also relationally and socially with some of the things that you're going to be able to start doing and enjoying in life. Number 3, this is a tough one, practice trust. So like I mentioned before, we get into these dieting protocols and counting macros because there's this underlying belief that we can't trust our bodies. They need to be micromanaged. Like if we look away for 1 second, we're gonna gain 10 pounds, and that's just not true. So yes, tracking has taught you that if you figure out just the right mathematical equation and you get those numbers dialed in just right, and you fudge carbs down a little more and you bump protein up a little more and maybe turn fat down a couple grams, like you've been led to believe that you're going to be guaranteed certain results. And some of you have and some of you haven't, but I can guarantee it's not because of the exact macro number. So here's a couple questions you can start challenging this concept. 1, does your body successfully tell you when it's time to go to the bathroom? Yes or no? Does your body communicate its needs in ways beyond food? Yes or no? Does your body do things for you every day that are worthy of trust? Yes or no? So again, try to understand that your body does all of these functions automatically without this person upstairs ever getting involved. So that is the concept we want to transpose onto our food intake as well. 4, try to separate fact from fiction. So again, your body doesn't need micromanaging. I keep repeating this because it's a very hard concept for us to believe, because we've been led to believe that it needs to be micromanaged since we were 8 years old when we picked up our first health magazine, okay? So I'm gonna drill it in. The very premise of the idea of tracking macros assumes that your body's needs remain constant day after day, and this is simply not true. Your body's always changing, and it's nutritionally changing day to day. A lot of you will know this, the day that you do a really hard workout and the day that you just take a stroll in the neighborhood, your energy intake and expenditure should vary from day to day. Number 5, and this is a biggie that's gonna wrap up everything here, get clear about what matters most in life. So ultimately, the purpose of food is to help give you energy to enjoy and live life, okay? The purpose of life is not to obsess about food. All right, so if a lot of you are stuck in the obsessive mindset about food, and even if it's a healthy one, right? I watch what I eat because I want to be healthy. Yes, to a certain degree, that is very responsible, and you should be very proud of that. But to what degree is it ruling your life? That's what we need to look at. And a lot of us have that gut feeling that, yeah, I'm a little psychotic about this stuff, and I think about training and I think about nutrition all the time, and I'm jumping from program to program, and I'm always looking up a nutrition coach, and I'm always looking up new macros. I'm always buying the next dieting book just to see if I can implement anything there. Stop. Where's your life being lived right now? It's being obsessive about food, your body, and basically yourself. So I'm going to challenge you to really look at what the purpose of your life is, or perhaps what you would like it to be, and use that as your North Star so that you can start making decisions based on that, rather than getting caught up day after day, month after month, year after year, and you wake up 50 years old and you're still chasing the same thing, and you weren't ever able to enjoy a girls' night out, or a vacation enjoying a bunch of food with your husband, or the birthday cake for your kid's birthday. Enough is enough. Like, this is a great opportunity to start looking into that. Okay, let's just go over real quick. If you're ready to make the switch to intuitive eating, here's how to transition. 1 is cold turkey. So to be honest, this is what I did. I just picked a day and I'm like, I'm not tracking macros anymore. And I just focused on eating whole foods. I looked at my plate and I said, is there a piece of meat? Check. Is there about a handful of starchy carbs in the form of potatoes or squash? Yes. Is half my plate full of leafy green vegetables or some other green vegetable? Yes. Do I have some olive oil, grass-fed butter, or avocado of some healthy fats somewhere on my plate? Yes. Awesome. That is as easy as it needs to be, okay? So if you can focus on that, if you've got that little format on your plate and you can pick and choose what meats you want to sub in, what starchy carbs you want to sub in, what vegetables you want to sub in, you can see that this meal matrix can get, it gets full of options. So, we didn't even cover spices or anything. Another way is to wean yourself off of counting macros. So what I recommend is track on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, and then try not tracking on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And the reason here being is that you probably have a pretty rigid schedule in the middle of the week. So you already know, I eat this for breakfast, I eat this for lunch at this time, I eat this for dinner at this time, I have this for my pre-workout snack. Continue doing that, but don't weigh and measure, and don't put that into your MyFitnessPal, okay? So an example of this, if you're prepping your meals, maybe you just take a spoonful of those mashed sweet potatoes and you put it in a glass jar for the next day. You have a bunch of chicken breasts, you just cut one in half and stick it in there. No weighing, no measuring. You're looking at it and like, yeah, that's about how much I eat every day, and stick it in there, okay? And do that the middle of the week, and then continue tracking on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, just because the weekend tends to get a little less rigid and scheduled and a little more flexible. So counting macros will help you keep on track and keep you accountable during those times when it might be really easy to just say, I'm not gonna eat until 2 p.m. and then I'm gonna binge on waffles and then meet my girlfriends out and eat a whole bowl of nachos. Okay, so that's what we're trying to avoid there. And as you continue to get better and better, just increase the amount of untracked days and decrease the amount of tracked days. A common question is, well, what keeps you from overindulging? And I just want to bust this question down, because at this point, we shouldn't be using the words overindulging. We shouldn't be using the words cheating or cheat day. It shouldn't even be on our radar, right? Like, we eat food, period. It's either gonna be more nutritionally dense or less nutritionally dense. It's either gonna make us feel awesome or it's not, okay? And then obviously a gradient in between there. So just like counting macros, I mean, you have the ability to overindulge, right, on crappy food as long as it hits your macros. But you didn't, right? You used concepts to keep you eating healthy. Same thing with intuitive eating. It's not a free pass just to say, well, I am intuitively eating, so therefore I get a plate of nachos for every meal because it's what my body wants. Call bullshit on that. Feed your body with mostly whole foods that are nutritionally dense. And yeah, if there's a plate of nachos at dinner, have a couple bites, but have a really hearty salad coming as the main entree, okay? So that's what balance looks like a little bit. From here on out, we're gonna be focusing on your hunger cues and your body signs. So this is really self-explanatory. On the days that you're more hungry, we're gonna eat more. It's as simple as that. But it's not that simple to put into practice because, again, of all of those beliefs that we should always be eating less, we should always be exercising more. And if we don't follow in those perimeters, then we're just lazy and we don't care about our health and we're a failure, okay? So let's break that down right now. So a really great example is, okay, I usually eat the same things every day. Today I went on a 2-hour trail run, didn't force myself into do it. It was beautiful outside, took a trail, kind of got lost a little bit. It was a fun adventure, got home and it had been 2 hours. I was pretty dehydrated, really hungry by dinner. Guess what? I'm gonna toss maybe half a cup of rice onto my plate in addition to the half a sweet potato that I'm already eating. That makes sense, right? Any logical person giving advice to me would say, you need more carbohydrates to recover from that. That's crazy. So do that for yourself. Don't say, well, my appetite's kind of low, so I'm gonna take advantage of that, and I don't really feel like eating, so I'm just not gonna eat. And then, before bed, you're starving to death and you're like, shit, I'm a failure. I'm just gonna go to bed so I don't binge on anything sweet. That's really dysfunctional, right? You had that whole weird conversation and over dramatized the whole thing. If you just would have thrown on a little extra starchy carbs, maybe had a banana for a snack right before bed, you would have solved the problem right then and there, and your body would have thanked you for it. Okay, so again, no shame if you want to keep counting macros. No shame if you don't want to go into intuitive eating or if you're not ready. It's just an option available. It's definitely where I've headed in the last year and couldn't be happier. Just one less thing that I need to stress and have on my plate and be on my phone all day about. So hope that helped. I'm going to leave you with a couple resources in the comments. One is to follow my friend Jessie Golden. She's amazing. Her Instagram profile is amazing with all kinds of posts on intuitive eating and making that transition. Number 2 is read the book called Intuitive Eating by Evelyn Tribole. I'll link that up below. And then of course, if you're struggling to make that shift, or if you're ready to make that shift and want some extra accountability, obviously we're here to help you in the coaching process. So reach out in the messenger or just me personally, and we'll get you hooked up, all right? So happy Friday. I can't believe it's Friday already. I am so ready for the sunshine to come out here again. If you're anywhere in the Northwest, it has been crazy rainy the past 2 days. 2 weeks. I'm delirious. So looking forward to some sunshine. Happy Memorial Weekend. You guys enjoy your break, and we'll talk soon. Bye.